Hi there, everyone. It's super early in the morning on Sunday. It's time for a review of the football algorithm, the NFL algorithm, week 3. I'm pulled over at a rest area on a drive. I know we've got to get this done, so here we go. I've just updated the injury report. Let's take a look at Sunday's games. We'll glance at Monday real quick. It likes the Eagles over Dallas in a close game, but we'll talk more about Monday later on Sunday night when we do a recap of all these games when they're completed. Let's talk about Sunday. So at the top of the list, you've got the Ravens at only minus 350, surprisingly, over Detroit. Says they're probably going to cover. I know Lamar Jackson's recovering from some type of injury, but Detroit's such a bad team that's a pretty good line. Algorithm says that the Ravens cover. Giants and the Falcons. Falcons also a miserable team. Thinks the Giants are going to come out and win this game. It says a lot of points too, like 40-23. That's because of Atlanta's poor defense. Can the Giants really do that? I don't know. We have some distorted defensive ratings if you look at the season stats here. Some of these ratings are way out of whack because it's only week 3 and we've only got 2 weeks in there. So I think that is inflating the Giants score and creating a higher scoring game there. But the algorithm sometimes knows what it's talking about. So thinks that they're definitely going to cover the 2.5, sees a lot of points in that game. Arizona and Jacksonville, that game's in Jacksonville. 30-15 Arizona, thinks they cover. They didn't cover last week, but Jacksonville, a pretty weak team, so Denver did away with them, and they also lost in week 1 to somebody else. They got blown out by Carolina, I think. So Arizona's probably going to put up some points in that game because Jacksonville's defense is not great, so they'll probably cover that 7.5. That's what it says. Raiders and Dolphins. Likes the Raiders in a lower scoring game. Thinks they're going to cover. Thinks they're going to win by 10. Packers and the Niners. This is surprising. It likes the Packers here, even though it doesn't like them by this is a 2021 win score. So this is the current season stats for generating that win score. When you look at the season pivot sheet and you start messing around with these percentages up here, these are some reasonable percentages right now, but you can change these and see how teams would compare. In this case, it says that this is the first game where the win score is not in favor of Green Bay, but the point projections are. So that's kind of surprising. I don't really understand why it's limiting San Francisco to so many points. I don't know if San Francisco has a lot of injuries. We should probably dig through this, see what's going on here. Kyle Garoppolo's playing. Just a lot of weakness here. It's only got Deebo Samuel really as a lot of their offense. That's kind of weird. But Green Bay has been trouble for us all year long, so I don't really know what to do. It might be a good idea to stay away from that game, given that there's a conflict there. But it does like the Packers to win away in San Francisco. Denver over the Jets. Now here, doesn't think they're going to cover that 10-point spread, but does think they're going to win. Terrible line at minus 588. Really difficult game to wager on. 10 points is a lot, even though the Jets have not shown a lot this year. Rams and Bucks. Does like the Rams to beat the Bucks. How about that? Likes them in win score percentage and likes them in point projections. I think that's the Sunday night game, if I remember correctly. That should be really interesting. Says they win by a touchdown. You get them at plus 105. That's interesting. Did they knock off Brady and give him the first loss of the season? Browns and Bears. 22-16 lower scoring game. I see that. Minus 3. Wow. Doesn't really think they're going to cover the spread. Too close of a game to wager. Putting money on the Browns is sometimes trouble on the spread line. So as we start to get down to these games that are lower on the list, keep in mind it's predicting closer games down here. So if you've got favorable points, like favorable with the Chargers, favorable with the Washington Football Club against the Bills, these other teams are supposed to cover in this scenario. So as soon as you start to get down here, you have to wonder really what's going to happen. Let's keep going. It says Buffalo wins, but barely does not cover the spread against Washington. Tough game, even though Buffalo's at home. Patriots over the Saints, 2016. Interesting. I kind of see that. I think the Patriots Belichick can find a way to stop Jameis Winston, and probably, their defense is always solid. I mean, they have a good chance here. So it says they win by 4. They've got to cover 2.5. Probably better take them on the money line in that game. And they are in New England. Chiefs and Chargers there. Look at that. 4-point game. And you get 6.5 with the Chargers. Chiefs, tough loss last week to Baltimore late. Can the Chargers put up some offense? It's an interesting game down here. Big win score percentage in favor of the Chiefs, though, so this is kind of like a conflict. It's down here, but the win score is really strong for the Chiefs, so the algorithm doesn't really know if they're going to cover or not. That's kind of what that means. Steelers over the Bengals. Look at this no-scoring game of 16-14. Wow, that's saying an under. That game is saying an under there. I don't really recommend over and unders with big bets, but I think given that the spread line and the margin of victory are so close, it says the play is the under. Because let's see, the under there in that game is set at. Under in that game is set at. Where's that game? Pittsburgh. Where are you? Right here. That game's in Pittsburgh. 43.5, and the algorithm says that game has 30 points. Look at that. So that's saying under. Indianapolis and Tennessee, super close game. I see that. Super close game already. You get 5.5 points with Indianapolis, and it thinks they're going to win, even in Tennessee. Derrick Henry, I mean, he carried them last week in Seattle. Will he do it again? Indianapolis' defense might be a little better than what Seattle had, maybe. I don't know. That game was in Seattle. This game's in Tennessee. It says take the Colts plus 5.5 down there. And then Seattle and Minnesota. I can't believe it's only a 1-point game. I don't think Minnesota's that good. Minus 125 for Seattle, but look at how close that is. And you start to see this where the odds makers and the algorithm are getting really, really close. Get ready for more of that as the season goes on. So what's the pick's going to be? What's my pick? I don't know yet. I've been on the road, so I haven't figured out what my pick's going to be. But big ones that I see on this list, I'll definitely give you one. If you do one thing, what does it say to do? One thing. Well, you want to pick something at the top of the list in general, right? So Arizona over Jacksonville. They had some defensive problems. This could be a really high-scoring game, even though the algorithm says no. Well, I mean, it says the Giants minus 2.5 over Atlanta. You got a really strong win score percentage for the Giants. It has them winning by 17, has them putting up a ton of points, and it says they're going to cover the field goal. You get less than a field goal that they have to cover. It says they win by 16. It says Atlanta's defense really isn't there. Is that better than Baltimore with Lamar Jackson potentially coming off injury? I think you can migrate down to this Giants game and say the Giants minus 2.5 is the pick of the day. Is there another underdog, or is there anything else we want to do? Raiders over the Dolphins with Tua. Tua's hurt. Tagovailoa. I can't do it. Just TT. I don't think he's playing. I think he's hurt. So let's double check real quick before I say that. Miami right here. Quarterback situation has just Jacoby Brissett, so Tua is out. Given that, you got a couple picks here. I mean, the Raiders to cover that 3.5, definitely to win at 180. I think, Arizona, man, tough. If you're trusting the algorithm, you're saying the Giants minus 2.5 is really the pick of the day at even money. I really like the Raiders winning this game at minus 180 on my big round robin. That's going to be on there. Arizona probably just to win, even though it's at minus 333 is probably going to be on there. Giants to cover minus 2.5. The Ravens probably just to win at minus 350. I don't know what we're going to do with this Packers game. Broncos, God, you can't really bet that Broncos game. That sucks. I probably am going to throw money on the Rams. Here. I think that's a sneaky bet. I like that the algorithm likes them by 7 points. And then further down the list, Patriots to win at minus 145. boy, I don't like betting against the Chiefs, but the Chargers plus 6.5 is what it says to do. Seattle just to beat Minnesota at minus 125. And Indianapolis plus 5.5. I think that's pretty good. All right, guys. Good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning.